Hello! In my professional practice as a urologist for over 20 years, I meet patients daily who come with a whole bunch of questions and even more myths about kidney stones that they hear from various acquaintances, from online forums, or even at the local pharmacy.
Doctor, can this water give me stones? If it doesn't hurt, it means I don't have a stone.
While some of these common myths sound very plausible, some of them can also lead to making completely incorrect decisions. Today, we will look at the most popular myths one by one in great detail. And I will tell you when you actually need to be concerned and when you've just heard yet another common misconception. So, let's get started. Drink more beer, eat lemons and olive oil, and jump up and down the stairs. Let's clarify. Beer increases diuresis, but it also dehydrates us. Therefore, its effect is short-lived and is often rather harmful. Jumping, on the other hand, can help with a small stone under very specific conditions, but it's also not a substitute for a medical approach. Lemons and citrates, meanwhile, can help support prevention, but they don't dissolve existing stones, except perhaps for partially breaking down uric acid stones. The next very common myth is the idea that if I stop taking calcium, I won't get kidney stones anymore. Sounds logical, doesn't it? Since stones contain calcium, it seems to mean we should stop calcium altogether, except that this common assumption isn't true. In fact, if you reduce your calcium intake too much, the risk of stones paradoxically increases. Now, why is that? Well, it's because dietary calcium effectively traps oxalates right inside the intestines, which prevents them from being absorbed. And many patients who stop dairy products just like that, just in case, actually form stones more often. So my advice is, you should not stop calcium without a specific medical recommendation. The problem is more in the balance of foods and your metabolism, and not so much in the calcium itself. The next myth is that coffee, chocolate, and spinach lead to the formation of stones. There might already be a grain of truth here, but again, the proportions are key. Yes, there are various foods with a high oxalate content, like spinach, cocoa, nuts, chocolate, and black tea. However, that alone is not nearly enough for a stone to form. The particular combination of little water, a lot of salt, many oxalates, and a lot of animal protein is what becomes dangerous. And if you take in enough water, don't overdo it with salt, and don't eat the same foods in huge quantities, the risk of stones, reduce it. And the golden rule is, moderation is okay, excess is already a problem. And above all, drink more water than you eat chocolate. The next myth is that
If it doesn't hurt, it means I don't have a stone.
you should know that stones are very cunning. They can hide in the kidneys for months and years without showing any symptoms. And problems only start when the stone moves down and blocks the ureter. This is the well-known condition called renal colic, which is often described as one of the most intense pains in the human body. But while it stays inside the kidney, the stone can grow completely asymptomatically to 2, 3, or even more centimeters. Furthermore, it can also lead to a serious risk of chronic infections or even significantly dilate the internal cavities of the kidney over time. The so-called hydronephrosis, which damages its functions without pain and without you noticing. You should know that the process of forming large stones takes years. And patients often come to us with huge stones found completely by chance, precisely because they don't hurt while in the kidney. Moving on, another common myth people believe is that kidney stones can be dissolved with medication. However, this statement is actually only a half-truth. Yes, there is one specific type of stone known as urate stones, which are composed of uric acid and which we can dissolve with medications that change the pH balance of the urine. Because at an alkaline urine pH of around 7.2 to 7.4, urate crystals could dissolve. But unfortunately, most stones are calcium oxalate, calcium phosphate, struvite, cysteine, or combined, and they do not dissolve. For them, we use other methods, for example, various medications to facilitate their spontaneous passage. Or if they are very large and passing them is impossible, then we use various methods to break them up with ultrasound or laser. And up here I will put a link to a video about the different methods for breaking up kidney stones. And the next and perhaps most common myth in Bulgaria is that mineral water leads to stone formation. The truth is this: no, mineral water doesn't cause stones, but an insufficient amount of water does. Kidney stones typically form when the urine becomes highly concentrated and the mineral salts in it begin to precipitate and crystallize, and the less water you drink, the more the urine becomes concentrated. So, the total amount of water you drink is the most important factor, not the specific brand. And if you're really that worried about mineral water, I'd rather recommend you rotate between different brands from time to time and not drink the same one every day. Because for over 95% of the population, mineral water is actually perfectly safe. Simply try to drink 2, 2.5, or even 3 liters of fluids every single day. This is what constitutes real prevention. The truth is that home remedies are only useful as a supplement instead of a primary form of medical treatment. Still, if you'd like, feel free to share your personal recipes or effective dietary methods that have assisted you in managing kidney stones in the comments below. Maybe we'll make a follow-up video to review and discuss them. The recipe that I am certain works, though, involves drinking more fluids and getting regular exercise. Fluids help dilute the urine, making it much harder for salts to settle and form crystals. And if you exercise, even if a small stone or some grit forms, it will pass through your system spontaneously, much easier. There are many myths about kidney stones and they often seem quite logical. But when it comes to your health, accurate facts are what matter most, not hearsay. And if you have symptoms or have had stones before, please do not delay seeing a urologist. It's neither painful nor scary, and it can save you from a lot of trouble. Subscribe to our channel for more accessible medicine and highly practical health tips, and see you soon in our very next upcoming video. Yes, until then, be sure to take care and stay healthy.